May of 2015, I exited my startup and was freed from the obligation of an everyday work schedule. Luckily, I was given a gift by my wonderful wife, Sherry. Thanks, babe. When she came to me and said, after a couple of weeks of me just kind of hanging around, "Brian, I love you, and I married you for better or worse, but not for lunch, so go find something to do." So I started looking for my next great adventure and began making phone calls, first to friends, then to former investors, mentors, and others. And then finally, the startup venture capitalists that I'd met along the way. I talked with colleagues in San Diego and Boston and Redondo Beach and Colorado Springs, and they all wanted to know about the exit. They all wanted to know what my plans were for the next thing I wanted to do. They shared with me what they were doing and if I'd be interested in joining them. And that's when I found Erie. And while it's been less than a year since I've moved here, I've fallen in love with Erie. It's the perfect combination of everything awful and wonderful, horrible and challenging. It's the best of things and it's the worst of things, all rolled into one. And as I got to know my new hometown better, I started to see a pattern, one that I had never seen before. All over the country, the VCs and investment bankers, the internet companies and startup consultants that I was interviewing with, they all were interested in me. And never once did they ask that question that's become a mantra here, which was so odd because as I started to learn more about my new hometown, the history, the future, the resources and possibilities, and the people, as I started to learn more, you all spoke of the greatness of our town, the possibilities of our town, the generational excellence of our town. But there was always that one question, never asked by anyone else, anywhere else, except here. You see, when you're a tech entrepreneur and you go to San Francisco and you talk with companies who want to hire you, you tend to think you're a pretty big deal. And when you're a startup guy and you go to Chicago and they talk about wanting to help them really juice up their scene, makes you feel pretty good. And when you go to Las Vegas and you meet founders of great companies who want you to join their team, it's pretty exciting. But when you bring all of that passion and all of that skill to Erie, Pennsylvania, and you combine that with the desire to find and mentor and invest in startup companies and small manufacturers like we do at the Ben Franklin Technology Partners, people want to know, what's wrong with you? It's so bizarre. You know that dysfunctional relationship you've heard so much about? Turns out we're in one with ourselves. So as you know, America, all over America, communities love to sneer at their neighbors. New York and New Jersey, get out of here. Pittsburgh and Cleveland, who's the new city of champions? Oh, so close. St. Louis and Chicago, I've got my reservations for the 21-24 World Series already in place. But in Erie, it's not like we're totally useless. We can be used as a bad example. So now as I come to the first anniversary of this new great adventure, I find myself staring back into all of those moments. Because every region, every city, every person has a crutch that they use to not act. And ours is why Erie. Why Erie? Help me, will you? Say it with me. Why Erie? Kind of bizarre. Doesn't even sound right when you say it. Yet we ask it here of visitors and ourselves all the time. And what I've come to realize is that why Erie isn't about the city, our region, or even any of our generational challenges that look like problems. Instead, it's about all of us, each one of us. And we're brainwashing ourselves, our friends, our colleagues, and what's worse, our children, who don't understand that the world isn't flat, who don't yet understand that the truth that we tell them isn't, and who pass it along and pass it along and pass it along. So will we use why Erie as an opportunity to act, to move forward? Or will we use it as a crutch, as a lie that chains us to an invisible stick? Once upon a time, we all promised ourselves that we would do great things. But I have to believe that somewhere in the back of our minds, there's just a little bit of disappointment. I'm sure it's just the age. It's that middle-aged time in life when you look back and realize what was, realize what is, realize that there's little time to act. Or maybe it's because we're young and there's time. We have to wait, we say to ourselves. It's okay to sit at the kids' table for a while, for some reason. Or we've bought our boat, we paid off our debt, we're now living in our golden years. And what is it for me to do? Why would I risk? Why would I put anything out into the future? Did you hear that? That little moment when you wondered, you became uncomfortable because you thought, I wonder if this guy from St. Louis really knows what he's talking about. Something that asks you what we're leaving for the next generation and the generation after that. Are we asking ourselves the hard questions, looking for good answers? Or are we dithering between our signature mix of inertia and denial? Accepting the things as truth, those things that are the way they are because that's the way they've been, and there's little for us to do. For a moment, forget about us, forget about you, forget about the doubt, and ask yourselves, what of those people who aren't here, who aren't wondering, who aren't even thinking about their life, the life of their city, and just accept why Erie as truth. What of them? And what will we do next? I first noticed this thing in Erie, but I've seen it elsewhere. I've seen it, frankly, all over the place. Turns out, the difference between a vision and a hallucination is how many people are looking for it. When someone says it can't be done, that's really their view of the world, their view of their life, their view of the future. So if we aren't going to leave to our children a city, a world like the one left to us, we're going to have to do something about that. But what is there to do if everyone is singing from the same book? As an investor, I know that try as I might, try as the company might, try as the friends and the family of those company people, try as the mentors and the community, and frankly, all of the good wishes of everybody might try, some companies are going to fail. Does that mean we should stop trying? Does that mean we should not risk? Does that mean we suck? Probably not. But why Erie, at its core, starts with a belief that we only have a few chances left. We only can risk so much. And if we squander one chance or blow that opportunity, we'll have to live with that and carry that with us forever, because we'll never get a second chance. Of course, that's not true. It's a complete and total lie that we tell to ourselves, but it sure feels good, like a warm coat on a winter day. The great philosopher Yoda once said, "Do or do not. There is no try." And I'm here to tell you, Yoda was wrong. Success isn't guaranteed, but the opportunity to try is. It's what the American dream was built upon. Frankly, it's what Erie was built upon. So do or do not, but continue to try, because we aren't going to unlearn the fear associated with risk, but we can build enough successes to be incompatible with it. And make no doubt, there's more than enough progressive leadership in our town willing to take their flag and plant it on some beach and march towards the future. They're here today. They're among us every day. And if you think about it, you all too have a flag and a shore where you can plant and march to your dreams. How lucky then are we to be right here, right now, to get the opportunity to do what we have to do, what we must do, what we'll soon get the opportunity and chance to do. We're great at welcoming outsiders and their new ideas. I'm a perfect example of that. You've embraced me and shown me that anything is possible, that a great city can be built with trees and rocks and sand on the shore of a great lake, by people that not only think for a living, but by people that make for a living. And that's why I've come to Erie. I've come to Erie because of you, because of people like you. And those people, especially entrepreneurs, frequently ask me, how do you stay motivated when what you get are experiences and what you wanted was success? And for me, that's easy. One day, I'm gonna die. You too. So how about we build our lives, build our city, so that if anyone talked badly about us, no one would believe it. Is this heaven? No. No, Erie isn't heaven. Sometimes it feels like hell frozen over, but it isn't heaven, but it is home. So since there's no time to waste, there's no excuses to make, and because it really is up to us, how about the next time we wonder? The next time we ask the question? The next time we look for the light at the end of the tunnel? How about we ask the question like this? Thank you, and don't give up the ship.